Hey everybody, it's Erin Reed and welcome to my Card Making Wednesday. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I decided to come up with a new fun, it's not 100% my idea. The idea has come from Shannon Green, but I'm morphing it into cards and it's called Card Making by 5's. So basically it's a mixed media card that you're going to only do a set number of things for 5 minutes. And the first thing we're going to do is just add paint, just this Nina white cardstock to the background of this paint. So we're going to add paint for 5 minutes. I pulled out a whole bunch of Pebeo paints here. There's a whole bunch of different paints, just as you can see here. I'm going to get them on the mat here, and then I'm going to set my alarm clock. So I have an alarm clock here, and I'm going to set it for 5 minutes. And I set the alarm clock to go off as the entertainer. So sometimes I get so into what I'm doing, I'm not paying attention to my alarm. So therefore, boom, here it is. It's nice big. I know it kind of acts funny on the screen, but it really does work. It works wonderfully. So I've got 3 minutes to get myself prepped. So by 10, 12, 2 minutes, sorry, 2 minutes to get myself prepped. So I'm going to go ahead and put out the paint. Just give myself little daubs of paint right here. These are all by Pebeo, and all of these paints are high viscosity acrylics. It says 10, 11, so as soon as that says 10, 12, I'm going to start, but I'm going to speed through that 5 minutes for you, and I will stop the clock just before the alarm goes off so you can hear what the alarm sounds like. I picked a fun tune. It's really kind of perky. All right, here we go. And there it is. I don't know. I love that song. It just makes me crack up. So I was afraid 5 minutes was not going to be long enough. And you know what? I think it's the perfect. I'm at the point, and my goal was to kind of cover the page, both pages. This is going to make 8 cards. And the paint did amazing. I love how I could layer the colors of paint, and I just used, really, it's an old kids club card from, any kind of credit card, card key, door card key, anything along those lines would work fantastic. I'm just going to kind of clean up a little bit underneath here, but I just swiped, and so therefore, is the paint thick? You know, parts of this, look, it's already almost dry. So this particular application versus brushing it on makes it very, very fast. And I didn't overdo the amount of paints, and look, and I kind of stayed away from the gold. But I like just the cool colors of this. All right, so I'm going to clean up the back underneath of this because there's some paint, and we got to get ready for the next step, which is the stenciling. Actually, you know what? I might not even bother because it's going to get even more gross, but I am going to apply some more colors down here, darker colors. I'm going to get a black, and I also have this really cool gel texture, which I think is kind of fun. So as I'm preparing for my next one, I'm going to put a gel texture. There we go. Actually, I'm going to do a lot of gel texture and a little bit more right here. I'm just using my craft mat. You know, I tried to find a nice big flat surface where I could swipe and grab like a paint palette, and this is the best one I found. You know what? If paint gets on the back of these, I'm not worried. And so now I'm going to apply a little bit. I'm going to leave one. I'm going to do 3 colors because I've got such big colors here. I'm going to do one. I'm going to add a blob. This is Payne's Gray, so it's going to be a really dark color. Maybe I don't do black. Maybe I just kind of stick with these colors. So Payne's Gray. I'm going to do a blob that is going to be silver. That'll look really cool. Bloop. I'm going to do a blob that is just going to be white. I've had a lot of color here. I kind of took away all the white. Now I can add some white back. And then let's do a blob of the pink one. The pink one looked really pretty. Or that purpley color. I used almost all of it. So having now little accents of it, that will be, look how pretty that is. This is totally my all-purpose tool. I used to teach high school biology, and so we did dissections, and this was one of our dissecting programs. Don't worry, it never got used for anything, but I use it for all different kinds of stuff. And so it's become kind of my all-purpose everything. And so look, it's a texture. It's got sand in it, so it's going to give the card a little bit of texture, which I think is so much fun. There we go. So I'll speed up until this goes off again. And as soon as you start seeing me start doing something, that means the alarm went off, and I have 5 minutes, and I'll show you what it looks like. I do want to show you guys my stencils. These are all from Crafter's Workshop. So I pulled out, since we're doing by 5's, everything's by 5's, 5 stencils. I did pull out way more colors than that, but 5 stencils. So here are my 5 stencils. I thought they were kind of pretty. All different. I might layer them up on top. I'm going to use the same card application to get it on there, and we'll just see what happens. That's the whole point. I don't know what it's going to look like because I don't have any kind of, I have 5 minutes. I can't overthink it. Yes. Here we go. 5 minutes starts. Okay. Oh, you have to hear that. Listen to that grit. Loving it. There it is. Okay. So I pretty much used all of it. I still stayed away from the gold. I think I'm just not liking that color on here. I keep trying to grab it, but it's just not working. All right, big reveal. And if you guys notice, as I carried over, I had a big giant blob that fell right there. Oops. Okay, I do have to pause the video for just a small minute, not to you, but I will step away. I'm going to clean off all my surfaces, let these dry. They are still very wet. If you notice, I did drop a big blob. I also grabbed all the extra paint. So this part is just paint with stencil. And I didn't cover everything with stencil, but look how cool they are. Look at all that amazing texture on there. And it's adding more layers of colors and stuff. Wash my stencils, wash my card, wash my mats, and we'll come back and we'll do the next step. All right, the next step is actually to add decoration using these deco markers. Now, if you don't have deco markers or any kind of water-based, this is an acrylic marker from Pebeo, then you can use just regular markers, but I love these. You have to activate them. So you just kind of see it comes white. You take the plastic off. You just prime them here. And once the paint comes, it glides on and it's like a regular marker. So as soon as my alarm goes off again, we'll be ready to go. And this is 5 minutes of doodling. I've picked out a wide variety of markers here from Pebeo. And I know I have 3 blacks, but some of the tips are a little different. So I have a 1.2, a 0.7, and a 4 millimeter. And just to show you the difference in the tips, you'll see them as I apply them. Here we go. I love that. This is more of a chisel tip. So I'm just going to do a little doodle down here so you can really see. Look at the chisel. Really see that chisel. I'm just adding doodles all the way around, but I will speed this part up again. I'm going to start off with the first 3 black markers just so you can see. So a little side-by-side comparison here. There we go. And I'm just going to add the last one just so you guys can see the difference in that one. And then the 0.4. So even finer. So the big difference between the 3. But you know, now it's a little extra stuff. I've grabbed a whole bunch of colors. I'm going to have some fun, but speed this up. I only got less than 5 minutes now, so here I go. And there it is. So look at that. Here we go. Little doodles all over the place. I just took all the markers, had some fun. Again, I didn't grab the gold. I guess I'm just not in a gold mood. But it's fine. I mean, I love the colors that are on here. And I just played. I just did. I'm not a drawer, so I'm a doodler. So I just played and had fun. Now I'm going to start prepping for the next 5 minutes. So a standard card is 5.5 by 4.25 for an A2 size card. And so I'm going to go ahead and cut with my guillotine because I don't think I'm going to get my paper trimmer in there with that fine blade to cut through all that fun goodness. And I'm going to give these just a little bit smaller. So it's going to be 5.25 by 4. So I'm going to do the 4 first. I'm just going to go to 4 and cut. And then I'm going to go to the 5.25. And whatever I get is what I get. Just to show you kind of how they cut up. Look how these big pieces. And there are some leftovers. I just haven't, and I might put them off to the side as something to use. But here are our 8 card bases. Okay, so I did a little off camera, mostly because you gotta pull some stuff, right? So what I did is the next one, I said it was going to be words. Well, some ones I maybe don't want to put words, or I might use a words as a sticker embellishment. So I pulled a whole bunch of chipboard. So I'm not counting that in the 5 minutes, but I got to paint them because they're really hiding. They just don't pop. So I'm either probably going to paint them white or black, and I'm going to take them one at a time, but that is my 5 minutes. I got to be fast about it. So I got to get my stuff out, and then we're going to paint these. So I've got a big blob of black and white Pebeo acrylic paint. I'm just taking 2 flat, what I call stipple or stencil brushes, but they work really, really good for chipboard. And as soon as that alarm goes off, probably won't take the full 5 minutes, but I'm counting this as one of my 5. So in case I want to maybe make a gray one, I can blend the colors. It gives me a little bit of time to play. So just gotta wait for my alarm to go off and I will get started. All right, here we go. All right, so I got done way before the 5 minutes. I think I still maybe have 2 minutes left, maybe 1 minute left, but I'm going to go ahead and call it done for this time frame. And I'm going to go clean off my brushes, throw away my backdrop, let these guys dry, and then we'll do the embellishments after the last 5 minutes. There it goes. I was just done. All right, so what I got now is I've got a whole bunch of embellishments. I'm going to do 2 batches of 5. I don't think 5 minutes for 8 cards is enough, so I've laid out my first 4. I know which chipboard goes with what. That was part of the last batch. So now it's just gluing everything down with my Supertite All-Purpose Universal Glue. Coupon code is below. This stuff is great because it does not have a lot of chemicals. Cancer-free, great for everybody. Super awesome hold. It's going to hold anything to everything. I've got gems, some bits, some little bling. I got some flowers and the rest of these little pieces. So I'm just waiting for my alarm to go off again, and I'm going to give myself 5 minutes to finish these batches of cards, and then I'm going to switch and I'm going to do the other cards, but I'm going to speed through. So it's basically 10 minutes to do 8 cards because it's by 5s. It didn't have to be just 5. All right, here we go. 5 minutes to do these ones. And there's the first batch. All right, so now moving on to the next round in 5 more minutes. All right, I'm going to call it that I was adding it, so it counts. I was already had the glue on it, so I'm going to use that. And there it is. I mean, it may not be perfect. That's not the point of this. The point of this is that you don't overthink it. You sit there and you kind of overthink, and then you do something weird, and you never know. You might just get something really cool out of that. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my alarm off so it doesn't keep going on and on and on. And it's very simple. All I'm going to do is just push the button, and the alarm, it was number 1, it's now off. Ta-da! Easy. And I didn't even get close to using up all the embellishments I pulled out. So I'm just going to put all these back into my flower case here for possibly next time that I do this. It's kind of fun. And does it have to be cards? Could you do this for something else? Yes. All right, so let me clean up and I'm going to show you guys the finished. I'm going to go ahead and also back all of these onto a card so you guys can see what the full card looks like. But I'm going to speed that up. I'm going to use the exact same glue just to show you guys what this looks like. I'm just going to use the same glue, mostly because my cards are already very warped and I want to make sure I have a super, super good hold on them. And so it's as simple as that. Just sticking this to this. And go ahead and finish clean up and I'll show you what they all look like when we're done. So here they are all done. I love them. I think they're so cool. Very mermaid-like. I did do some cards on different color backgrounds. So for instance, I did a couple, like here's a gray, here's one is a black, and then I found a piece of paper. It was kind of sitting around and it already fit within the color tones. Definitely kind of bring in some of those pops of those teal colors, which I think is perfect. The rest of them were all on white. Some of the cards opened up normally, but then I had a couple of cards, where's one, here we go, where it opens up a little different. So I just trying to change it up a little bit. So let's take each one at a time. I'm kind of in love with this process. It's the first time I've done something like this, but it really kind of pushed me to, number 1, use up my supplies because I just started grabbing supplies. Number 2, to try something different. And because I had limited time, I was just like, let's just do it. I'm going to do it. I didn't overthink it in my head. So I think that's kind of fun. It just kind of gets you to play in art is the bottom line. So I really wanted to overemphasize this. And my son actually came up. He goes, are you going to put a gem in the middle? And I thought, okay, that's cool. And so I had this word smile and I stuck it down and I had in the back of his head about putting a gem. And look, it lines up perfectly with the eye. And so it's like the dot on the eye. Isn't that awesome? So I just put a few other little gems in the corner and really let the big thing right here, all this really goodness and just that smile just kind of shine through. For this one, I had done, it looks like mermaid scales or like lizard scales or something because I added all the extra things. And so I just had the cherish word and then a few little pieces at the bottom to line up on that line. I just kind of left it as is. For this one, I had this really cool swirl and I was like, it's got to have flowers. And I had a whole stash of flowers. So I grabbed a set of pretty flowers and I went, because it has these little hints of these purples in here, I went with the pinks and purples and then just stuck a little forever on there. Some of them don't have to have titles. I think, no, like this one doesn't have a title and that's totally cool. All right, so for this one, I already had it together and then I had those extra strips of paper. I grabbed one, stuck it down, it had the lines. I grabbed a couple of flowers that fit within the color scheme. And then I had this one little black swirl and I thought, yeah, originally I was gonna tack it onto this card and then I just switched gears. I thought, nope, I'm gonna go over here and I put it over on this one and it works really, really, really well. So here we have the black barbed wire. To me, it just reminds me of seaweed. So I kind of went with that whole seaweed. I was going to add another flower on the bottom of this to really emphasize that it was kind of growing out of the ground. But the buzzer rang, my time ran out right as I was gluing this one down. So I didn't get a chance to finish it. But I had these really pretty kind of purpley sequiny dots. I've had them forever. And so I attached those on there and it just kind of brings out that pop. So it's like a little underwater sea, maybe if I found a mermaid. But you know what? The 5 minutes are done. I'm done. So this one, I grabbed 2 more strips of the papers that we had. They were already the right size. I just angled them, stuck this little laugh piece. I think I've had this thing for about 15 years, this word laugh. And now I'm using it. And then I just added a whole bunch of little enamel and also silver gems along the side with the, and because it added in like all the little bubbles here. The background, you can see all little bubbles. So again, it was another one that was a little bit kind of underwater mermaidish is the best way. This one I went totally grunge. I had the Bon Voyage because it was sitting there in front of me and I could have left it. I actually could have not put anything on there, but I had it, so I thought I'd throw it on. I had all the gears already on there, so it was just a matter of sticking them down. I added a couple more little metally trinket things and then some more gems. And I have these brackets I just threw on the corners. This is a heavy card. I'm not going to deny. This one's the heaviest of all of them because of all the metal on here. But it's just cool. It's kind of one of those, hey, goodbye, very, you know, grungy. And I thought with the lines and everything, it just really worked. It didn't have that kind of flow. I know it's got purple on there, but you know what? It works. Last one was happy, and I just loved all the background. I loved all the little pieces. There's so much happening with the stencil work on here and with the little additions I did. I didn't want to cover it up like I did with some of the other ones. So I just left the word happy, a couple of gems in the corner because this side was a little bit plainer. I could have flipped it the other way, but I kind of liked the way I did it, and I just left it. I liked it. It was kind of bright and cheery and just happy. So I hope you try this Cards by 5. I will leave the information down below to what the 5 minutes were. 5 minutes for painting, 5 minutes for stenciling. And if you don't feel like stenciling, you could skip a step if you're like, I don't like that step, it's not my step, it's totally cool. So 5 minutes for painting, 5 minutes for stenciling, 5 minutes for doodling, 5 minutes for painting embellishments. I chose chipboard. But again, if you just wanted to do embellishments, you didn't have to worry about the painting part. You could eliminate that and give yourself 15 minutes for embellishments. So it really kind of depends. But I had 5 steps, and that's how it broke down. I gave myself 10 minutes to do all the cards. And let me tell you, that 5 minutes to do 4 cards, that went by fast. I kind of almost wished I'd given myself 15 minutes to do 8 cards versus 5 and 5. And maybe I might amend it later. But again, the whole point is to give yourself a constraint, you know, kind of a time limit within to finish what you're kind of setting out to do. And I am thoroughly happy. I got 8 cards done, and I did some mixed media, and I got some arting, and I had a blast. So I hope you try it. As many of the supplies I can find will be listed down below. The alarm clock I know I can do, the Pebeo paints, definitely, the stencils from Crafters Workshop, but some of these other embellishments, all the chipboard came Creative Embellishments, so I'll leave a link for them to go find some stuff from them. And then the flowers were all Prima. So it's in some of the embellishments I've had for forever, so I don't know where I got them, truthfully. So, but I will do my best to find what I can. Thank you so much. Please subscribe. Give it a try. You never know. You might really like it. You could also do tags. You could do journal pages. You could do so many different things. It doesn't have to be cards. Thanks for joining my Wednesday card making. I'll see you guys again soon. Please subscribe. Bye-bye.